Things Honen was always saying, Part 2. A warning to hypocrites. Now the fact is that you and I have so long been accustomed to look well upon this world, which in reality, it hardly needs to be said, is all a dream. That when we succeed in casting aside worldly fame and gain, even in the smallest degree, we think we've done a wonderful thing, and so we feign disgust of the world. Shallow-minded people, not knowing our heart, suppose we've done a great thing, worthy of much admiration, and we in self-satisfaction proceed to get away from the neighborhood of the metropolis and hunt us out a small obscure dwelling in some lonely spot, while in reality we give a quite secondary place to attaining soul peace, thinking only of appearing to men so forlorn as to awaken their compassion toward us. For example, we plant miserable-looking flowers in the hedges around the temple buildings which enshrine the image of the Buddha, all of which are also made to look correspondingly poor and meager, while all the time we are thinking only of how we may win the applause and escape the censure of our fellow men. The result, therefore, must be that, going on in this way, with not the least thought or mention of such a thing as trusting in the Buddha's vow, or praying for birth into the Pure Land, is an utter absence of a most sincere heart, and with it a complete failure to attain birth into the Pure Land. But by saying this, I do not mean that it does not matter at all how men look upon us, or that we should pay no attention whatever to the world's criticism of us, for we certainly should. But it would be too bad, I repeat, for us to be thinking of only outward appearances, and thereby be hindered in our efforts to attain Ojo. It is for your sake that I direct your thoughts to these things. Other roads to Ojo besides the Nembutsu. What is meant when we speak of religious discipline is simply the repetition of the Nembutsu. In reference to those other religious practices tending to the land of bliss, one should not let his heart wander hither and thither, but while performing any one of them, keep his mind fixed upon it alone. Whether we consider the vow of Amida Buddha, the preaching of Shaka, the exposition of Zendo, or the opinions of many other teachers, the Nembutsu, according to them all, is the essential thing in the religious discipline which leads to birth into the land of bliss. As to other disciplines, none of them gives any particular instructions at all. Nevertheless, if there should be anyone who has been learning the sacred scriptures, and on that account finds it difficult to believe in the Nembutsu, let him bear in mind that everything else which he does, under whatever circumstances, according to other forms of religious discipline, is all right, so long as he makes it an occasion for directing his thoughts and prayers to Amida and to his land of bliss, because such acts done in the spirit may become the means of helping him to Ojo. Relation of the karma of prior states of existence to Ojo. People say that a man can attain Ojo by virtue of merit acquired in a previous state of existence, and there is no mistake about it, for through the sin or merit of a former life, men may be born to good or evil in this fleeting world. And if that be so, how much more must a great boon, like Ojo, be influenced by the good done in a former existence? At least so it seems from the sacred scriptures, and yet on the other hand, they seem to teach that the attainment of Ojo by the Nembutsu is quite independent of the good done in a former life. For example, it would appear from the Meditation Sutra that even as wicked a criminal as one who murders his father and mother or sheds the blood of a Buddha may at death by but 10 repetitions of the Nembutsu attain Ojo. But those who have a large stock of merit from a former state, even without any special instruction, have a fear of evil, and their hearts yearn for the way of the Buddhas. So it is out of the question for them to be guilty of the 5 deadly sins. For this reason, when men guilty of them attain Ojo by but 10 repetitions, it is plain that it is not due to the merit they acquired in a former state. For in one of the sutras we read to our comfort, even though a man may have committed many sins, such as the 5 deadly ones, if he but hears the name with the 6 mystic characters Namu Amida Butsu, the chariot of fire coming from hell to convey the sinner thither will of itself disappear, and instead a lotus stand will be brought to take them to the western paradise. And the vilest sinners, even if they resort to no other means of salvation than that of calling upon Amida's name, shall be born into the land of perfect bliss. And though the obstruction of their karma should be of the gravest kind, and they have no good karma to give them affinity for the Pure Land, if they will only entrust themselves to the power inherent in Amida's great vow, they shall certainly be born into the peaceful land of bliss. How Hozo Bhikkhu became Amida Buddha. If ordinary people sunk in the river of birth and death are ever to get free from the fated transmigratory round and enter the way of the Buddhas, they must have awakened within them an aspiration after enlightenment, get rid of their evil passions by the severest austerities practiced through innumerable ages of time. Now by so doing one may indeed become a Buddha, but for ordinary mortals living in a world of 5 corruptions like this, it is out of the question for them by their own power either to make vows or practice the disciplines necessary to Buddhahood. So they must wander about through the 4 modes of birth in the transmigratory states. Now Amida Nayori move with sorrow. And now Amida Nayori move with sorrow as he sings away back in the distant past when he was called Hozo Bhikkhu, underwent the most trying austerities through innumerable kalpas of time, during which he accumulated great merit, and thus became the Amida Buddha. He put into the 3 letters of his name all the merits of the inner virtues of the 4 wisdoms, the 3 bodies, the 10 faculties, and 4 fearlessnesses, which inhere in every Buddha, together with all these external activities, such as the signs of eminence, light rays, sermons, practical service for others, and the like, and vowed that he would come from paradise to welcome everyone who called upon his name 10 times or even once, and that he would refuse to become a Buddha in case he failed to do this. Now he did become a Buddha, and is at this very moment present and alive in the world. And there is no doubt whatever that every sentient being that calls upon his name shall assuredly attain Ojo, just as Zendo says, now I call him a real believer in this so-called other power, Tariki, who deeply believes the foregoing and neither neglects the practice of the Nembutsu nor doubts his own Ojo. Honen means Zendo in a dream. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amitabha Buddha, Namo Amitofo.